Hello, 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 Chicago Bears fans. Welcome to the Bears Den podcast number 43. I
Oof.
am your host, Andy, and we have a great show lined up for you tonight. We're going to talk about the rumor mill that is the Chicago Bears social media, and we're going to discuss the safety room and the tight end room. If you're watching us, please follow us, like us, subscribe to us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Please tell all your family, friends, and fellow Chicago Bears fans all about us. We would greatly appreciate that. And if you're watching the shows, please send us comments. We love comments and we love feedback. We love hearing from you guys. So let me bring out the stars of the show. Todd, the rock star, is joining us tonight, and the bad guy, Chicago Clarence, the mega star, is joining us tonight. So Todd, I'll kick it off with you. You couldn't join us last week. You were sick with the flu. I'm glad you're better. I'm glad
Yep.
you're back in the saddle, so to
Yeah.
speak. And I know you're a horse person. So let me ask you, Virginia McCaskey passed away. You didn't get a chance to speak your mind about this. What do you think of the news?
Yeah, it was interesting because it was all of a sudden I didn't know of any rumors or anything about her
No.
health. They were saying that. I mean, at her age, obviously that can happen anytime for anybody, but at that age, obviously it's more likely. But it seemed to come out of nowhere. But
It
as
did.
far as the team, I mean, it's sad for the family, obviously, but you know, I don't know. I think they've the ownership has been just kind of dictated for the longest time now, just based on her age, as to what their options were. And I think that, in my mind, you're finally given an option to maybe you can liquidate part of this, or you can, I think the money's going to be too tempting. I mean, I know they make money obviously with the team, but this is going to be different money, obviously, from the sales, just the amount, and it's divided up amongst so many people now. I think that some of them are going to want to start liquidating that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some movement on it. There's a couple rumors already floating around. I've seen some names and things, but it'll be interesting. It's something that I 10, 15 years ago was like, we need to make a wholesale change. And I didn't know all the details on who owed what percent of what. And, we kind of learned a lot in the last week or two on that. But I expect there to be some movement on sales. That's just my hunch.
I mean, I agree with you. I think there's going to be movement on sales. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think there's going to be changes. I think McCaskey's will stay in power. I think her percentage of 22 would just get spread out amongst the family to keep the family in control. That's
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
yeah,
what the understandings are of, say, hey, I own, 3 or 4 or 5%. I
yeah,
want to liquidate mine. If they
yeah.
look to the family to try to buy that out, or if it needs to be outside sources or what. But I
Chicago,
wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised if some of that didn't sell.
Chicago Clarence, anything else you want to add about Virginia? We've had time to reflect on it last couple of weeks before we move on.
Nothing more than what I said last week. It's she had a remarkable life. Um,
Yes.
if you just want to talk about the person, I can't talk about that because I didn't know her. What I do know was that I don't think she was a very good owner. Um, and I'm just hoping that things change as far as the ownership goes with her not longer being in the seat.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I do think McCaskey's overall have failed as owners,
It'll
but
be strange not to see
yeah,
her in the
it will be.
the 20 seconds she got every game sitting in the
Yes.
boxes. It'll be strange not to see
Yes.
that.
So a little bit of news this week. We signed Swayze Bozeman, linebacker for Kansas City Chiefs, to a contract. Maybe he'll make the team. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll be a special teams guy. Maybe he won't be. I never heard of him. I had to look him up myself. But in other news, in case you guys didn't hear, the salary cap increased today. And then I know somebody who's already fuming. Ticket prices are increasing by 10%. So, Todd, what are you thinking of ticket prices increasing by 10%? Last year they went up 8%.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty ballsy move, as bad as they were last year, and they haven't done anything other than spending a bunch of money on coaching, which we're obviously happy about that. But yeah,
Mhm.
and if they a couple of percent here and there, or adjust certain seats or whatever they've got to do to finagle a little more money. But just that seemed like a big amount to me.
I mean, 10%. If you bought a $500 ticket, you're now going to pay $550. Yeah. And then to see the ticket holders, they got paid 10% on each ticket. The bad guy, I already know your blood pressure's. And remember, your doctor said you got to take your blood pressure easy. So go ahead. What do you think of the ticket increase?
You guys already know what I think.
I already know what you think.
I think that when you go and you raise ticket prices 8% going into a season, and then you proceed to have double-digit losses.
Yes.
And you want to hide the fact that you were going to have a number 1 draft pick and it was supposed to be a new day as far as the Bears was concerned, shame on you. But then you turn right around and give us the I won't even call it mediocrity. It was a train wreck of a football season. And terrible. For my money, it was the worst in Chicago Bears football history. And that's saying something with some of the crap we've had to muddle through. And then you turn right around and jack up prices 10% on this year. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bears in the last 4 years have gone 5-12, 7-10, 3-14, and 6-11. That's 4 years of double-digit losses. And you have the audacity to go up on prices when you're giving fans crap. When you look at some of the games that we had to watch this year with Eberflus as the coach, the Detroit Thanksgiving game comes to mind. When we're on national display, our stupidity and ignorance is on national display for everybody to see. It's just like inviting people over to your house and your house ain't clean. And everybody gets to see what a slob you are. That's what happened this year.
It did.
And then you go up on ticket prices. Oh, by the way, we still don't have concrete plans about our stadium. This is what I'm talking about with this organization. How could you in good conscience go up and 10%? That's a nice little hike.
Yeah.
And you continue to put losing teams on the field. I mean, ownerships, and not just the Bears, but ownerships never cease to amaze me of sports teams. These are billion-dollar people, and you want to seek out public funding to help you build stadiums, and we get nothing out of it. We just got to hope that you're competent enough to put a decent product on the field, but not the Chicago Bears. Oh, no. 5-12, 7-10, 3-14, and 6-11. And then you want us to give you more money to watch that nonsense.
I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked at all. I mean, I think mostly every team will do it this year, regardless of how good or bad they were last year. Like we always say, NFL teams print their own money. They print their own money. If Todd don't want to pay for that ticket, Andy will. If Andy don't want to pay for that ticket, Chicago Clarence will. There's somebody willing.
No, Chicago Clarence won't, because you're the one who like to go on fly up and watch their asses play. Oh, no, Chicago Clarence won't.
and it's a little cold too.
Yeah, that's true. Todd, you weren't surprised by ticket prices increase.
No, they raise them every year, but
normal.
They should have probably been a little more modest than they were. But they think they can get it. We're gonna show up. We're gonna buy jerseys. We're gonna buy tickets.
I did see on social media someone had an excellent idea. Teams shouldn't get to increase their percentage more than their win total. So technically, we shouldn't have been able to increase the ticket prices by 5%. Who agrees or disagrees with that one? If you want to live in games,
listen, guys.
Yeah.
What have they done for us in this relationship? I'm always on the show talking about this, but this is the relationship. We hold up our end, but they're not holding up their end. How dare you ask for more money? How dare you put it out there and expect us to pay when you're giving us what you're giving us? And it's not just the losing. It's how it happens.
Yeah.
It's what happens in the form of a season. The double. We were like an 8-game losing streak at one point.
It was. What it ended up
and
being
we got to endure
11.
that. We're
11.
losing games on, Hail Marys mixed in with our coach being a dumbass. And that's how we're losing games.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about the Thanksgiving game when we have 24 seconds and we don't even run up. We don't even get to run to. We had 24 seconds and a timeout, and we don't even call timeout. I mean, this is what we're talking about. And then you're going to turn around and ask us for more money. You and the city are going back and forth over a stadium when you spent $115 million out there in Arlington Heights, and it's just sitting there. Only the Chicago Bears do dumb stuff like that. And mixed in all of that, you want us to pay you more money to watch the product that you continue to put on the field, which is a losing product?
Yeah.
So what? You went and got Ben Johnson and you got to pay him $13 million. This is what you should have done 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So what? You got to pay more money. That's the going rate. That's what it costs to be a professional football franchise. You got to pay. But don't keep asking your fans to come in and chip in when you suck at everything you do. I mean, the only thing you're good at is losing and looking bad at doing it. That's the only thing you're good at.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not shocked they went up. I thought 10%. Wow, that's quite a bit. They were 8% last year, 10% this year. I was looking. Interesting fact. George Halas Jr. looked at Arlington Heights many, many, many moons ago and moving the team there to a stadium. When I was looking up George Halas Jr. and his life, like I did not know that, but that's on Wikipedia and on his page that he looked at Arlington Heights many, 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 obviously years ago. I thought that was a little interesting fact that I did not know. But moving on. So the rumor mill is going strong with the Chicago Bears. We are linked to Najee Harris as a running back. What do you guys think of that? Yes, no, maybe so?
I don't want to pay 2 running backs. We're already paying one now. And Najee, I'm against it. I don't think I would sign any of those. Rico Dow he came on a little at the end last year. That might be interesting. Javonte Williams should be cheap because he's super inconsistent, but I don't know. I just from a fantasy standpoint, playing Najee, I've never been thrilled by it.
I mean, the only thing I like about Najee Harris is he's more opposite than Swift. He's more power inside. He's not shifty and fast like Swift. I mean, that's the only thing I like about the rumor mill. At least somebody that puts this stuff out there has some common sense. Chicago Clarence, what do you think of Najee Harris? Man, he's a younger back.
No.
He's 4 years. The Steelers did not pick up his 5th-year option, so he's a younger running back. It's not like he's washed up.
I'm going to say no. He's a guy that has the body to run between the tackles, but he often likes to bounce it outside and try to outrun the defenders, and it never seems to work. This is not – listen, we don't need to open up another free agency and shock the world by signing a running back we don't need. That's what we did last year.
Yeah, we did.
There's what they said. There's 35 draftable running backs in this class.
Yes.
Get a running back we're going to pay $1 million for, and I'd pay $7 million for.
Yeah, we don't need
that. I don't want to do that.
And we still have
Ian bigger
Williams.
Needs.
We still possibly could get Ian Williams back. So what do you guys think about? There's another one floating out there, Nick Chubb. Which again, the only thing I like about that rumor is he's the exact opposite of Swift. He would be a good complement. Todd, what are you thinking of the Nick Chubb rumor?
Well, Chubb, is coming off an injury. He's going to be relatively cheap, I think. The PFF Najee Harris contract projection is 11.5 a year. There's no way. I mean, we're going to have $20 million wrapped up in running backs. No way.
Chicago Clarence, what do you think of the Nick Chubb rumor?
Once again, we have bigger fish to fry.
Yeah,
we don't need to be looking at a running back right now. We got plenty of time. With what we have coming out of the draft, we don't need to sit there and rush to grab a big name unless it's going to be on a very team-friendly deal. Then we can talk. But at the same time, what's the use of having two running backs when you don't have an offensive line?
We do not.
That's where our focus should be.
The
Offensive line.
Yeah,
Go
the
ahead,
Chubb
Todd.
the Chubb projection is a 1-year prove-it deal for $3 million. That's a different thing. I mean,
Yes.
Najee for 11 and a half. That's crazy. I'm not interested in that at all.
No, either am I. I mean,
Wait a minute, hold on.
Go ahead.
Wait, hold on. We talk about Najee Harris $11.5 million a
Yeah.
year.
A
Or
year.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
more
crazy.
than what Sweat's making.
Well, I'm saying we'd have $20 million wrapped
Yeah.
up in 2 running backs. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't agree with these. Again, these are the social media rumors that we're looking at. Everybody's talking about hearing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Send them to Dallas. They need a back.
Yeah, they do. Now, Rickle Dottle, like
Yeah.
you just said, Todd.
Yeah, he came on. I'd
Yeah.
be surprised if they let him go, but they may.
Yeah. And Javonte Williams, he's too much like Swift to me. You're getting
He's
the
hot
same
and
running
cold.
back.
He's hot and cold.
But you're getting the same running back. He's more of a shifty speed guy.
Yeah.
Like to me, now Aaron Jones, as me and Chicago Clarence always say, you start him in fantasy if you were playing the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Well, Jones is just old.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. But Jaylen Warren is interesting from a pass catching standpoint. He's very productive, but I think he's coming off an injury, and I think he's 30 now also. So I don't want to sign any of these guys.
Yeah, the Steelers obviously going to need a running back because both of theirs are going to be free agents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they may retain Najee. We'll see. I mean,
so moving on, guys. I was surprised when I saw this. I don't know how this is how someone came up with this, but first and second round picks that are starters. Now, the key to this is we don't know how far this person went back that created this, but the Chicago Bears lead the way with first and second round picks that are starters at 91%. I don't know who came up with this. I don't know how many years they went back. But are you surprised by this, Todd, that 91% of our first and second year players are our first and second round draft picks are starters?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we have enough talent to not make them starters. I think that
That's
maybe
true.
says the depth may be the issue. That maybe they shouldn't be starters, but we need more information here. I mean, I don't know if that goes back a year or 5 years or what it is, but I know that we've had our biggest struggles in the third round.
Yes.
We can't seem to draft in the third round.
Velus Jones Jr. is one of them.
Yeah. So, and what Tyler Scott,
Yes.
Well, anyway, I think that I don't know. There's not enough information here, but it's I guess nice to be in first place in something, right?
Yeah. So, Chicago Clarence, were you surprised that we would have the highest percentage of starters out of our first and second rounds?
It's like Todd said, it's not enough information. We don't know how far this goes back. Ryan Poles has had some hits, but we also know he's had some significant misses as well. So the only interesting thing that I could see is that we know the team that's the Super Bowl champions now continues to draft well, and for them to be second is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, last year I know we took Roman, Caleb Williams at number 1, obviously. So those both would be starters. Who was our second round draft pick last year? Did we have one off the top of our heads?
We did not.
We traded it.
So both of those guys would be
Montez
starters.
Sweat.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know how they came up with these numbers. So moving on, let's continue with our 2024 free agent or 2025 free agency look ahead and break down the tight end room. Todd, I'll let you go first. The top 2 guys, Mercedes Lewis, Steven Carlson. Would you resign either of those guys? They're both free agents.
I wouldn't sign Mercedes Lewis. I think
no.
He's probably done. I mean, I've been saying that for a decade.
Yes,
but he's probably done. Carlson could come to camp. He could be a practice squad guy potentially. I have no interest in signing Gerald Everett, and I don't even know who the other 2 guys are. So
no,
I don't know exactly what Cole makes, but I don't really want to commit more money to that position either. As far as free agency.
Cole Kmet, we signed him to a 4-year, $50 million deal. Expires in 2027.
So that's pretty middle of the line, I think, for starting tight end. So that's not awful, but I don't want to, the guys that are available in free agency are going to be pricey, and
Yes.
that Juwan, I know we're getting a lot of Saints connections now.
Yeah,
they're
we
starting
will.
tight ends available, and Tyler Conklin, and I mean, I want to draft a tight end, and I want to have some priority free agents to try to fight for the practice squad spot. Maybe I don't want to spend. I want to spend $1 million for a mid-round draft pick. You know, I don't know whether that's third or if we end up with a fourth for Cunningham or fifth or where that is, but I kind of want to see that.
So Chicago Clarence, I'll kick it over to you. I know what your answer is going to be on Mercedes Lewis because we watched the game together. We always said he's an automatic flag once a game. So would you keep either of the top two guys, Carlson or Lewis, or tell them bye-bye, start packing?
Yeah, well, hell no, I'm not keeping either one of them. The only thing that I will say with a lot of the people that we have on offense is we had idiots calling plays
We did.
for 3 straight years. And it's really hard to gauge people with some of the nonsense that we had going on in the play calling room. And I'm very interested to see what Ben Johnson is going to be able to do,
Right.
particularly with Cole Kmet.
Right.
Cole Kmet has got to have a good year. And I would even suffice to say that if he doesn't, we need to think about moving him. I think his guaranteed money will be up. But, you know, and this is the reason why I say that, Todd. For all intents and purposes, I think we all can agree that we have a competent head play caller finally, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So if you're telling me that we finally got a competent play caller and Cole Kmet still doesn't go out there and produce, then why are we keeping him? Because we know he can't block.
No.
We can't use him. We can't use him in blocking, and we can't use him in the receiving part of the game. Why the hell are we keeping him?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're paying him around $11.5 million a year.
Well,
and if you can't produce with Ben Johnson calling plays, and we can get rid of you, and it's going to be a minimum cap hit and save $11 million, we should do it.
Yeah, there's not a free agent that's worth that money that I think's any better right now. But I don't know what it looks like next year. I mean, I don't think there's any chance we cut him this year.
Not this year.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, it has to be evaluated this year.
Yeah. If he doesn't have a good year this year, then we should think about moving him. We can draft a tight end for all intents and purposes. I mean, we're going to have 8 draft picks next year.
Our tight end room as a whole last year was horrible.
Well,
but I think it was more play calling and scheme.
Yeah. We have 8 this year right now and may end up with 9 with Cunningham.
So would either of you pick up the $6.5 million option on Gerald Everett? Or you tell him to start packing his bags?
Hell no.
I don't think so. I think you can bring in a rookie or a cheap guy to fill that spot. I don't think so.
Give us what he's given us. I mean, hell, I could go on the team and give you what he gave you.
Yeah.
You know, every time you get a back, you're either getting a holding penalty or you're dropping the pass, for God's sake. I could do that.
There's 4 or 5 guys that are projecting from, 80 to 120 or 30 in the draft that are going to be as effective as any of those guys.
So those are spot tracks, top tight end free agents.
Yeah, Johnson, I think they're about in that $10 million range. I'm not looking to pay more for any. I mean, Conklin's pretty effective, but still, $5 million maybe, not 10, and that's what they're talking about. So Mo Ali Cox might be somebody you get cheaper, but I don't know. I don't love any of that.
Yeah, I mean, Gesicki's okay. Hooper was okay years ago. Harrison Bryant, I might take a flyer on him because he's still young.
Yeah.
And like you said, any New Orleans Saint we're going to be tied to, or any Detroit Lion we're going to be tied to going forward.
Well, Gesicki doesn't block at all, so I mean, he's strictly a pass catcher. Conklin can block a little. Zach Ertz is well past his prime. He was a solid player, but
yes,
but the guy makes plays.
Yeah,
I mean, he makes plays.
Yeah, but what is he? I don't know. He's got to be 32, 33 years old now. So, I don't know. I would, if we get that 4th round pick, For
Yeah.
Cunningham, I would look in that range because
So-
there's decent guys.
So
I wouldn't draft high on a tight end this year.
So before we start the safety room, Ian Cunningham, there's rumor mills flying that he's going to get hired. Most likely, could be. He's worth 2 third-round picks. You guys want to see him go for 2 third-round
yeah.
picks? Hell yeah!
Hell yes. Give me the picks.
And
Yeah.
See you. Bye.
I'm happy
It's
for
been
that.
great. Holla
for
at your
him,
boy.
Happy for him too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I want
2 third-round picks.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
for sure.
So Todd, you would let him go? Did you tell
Oh
him?
yeah, in a
yeah.
second.
I mean, yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. I would let him go as well. I mean, not that I have anything against the guy, but I want 2 third-round picks in return. I mean, I hate to
He was-
lose a mind.
Well, I
You
think
know?
that he was there to hold hands there for the first couple of years. I mean, that's that time's passed.
What has he been doing for the Chicago Bears that's been so great
I don't know.
that we just got to keep him? I mean, somebody please tell me, convince me, make it make sense.
Yeah.
Because we were sitting up here debating on whether Ryan Poles should keep his job.
Yeah, we
Well,
were.
this is his number one guy,
Yeah,
Right.
his right hand.
I know.
So something needs to be said, because if it's Ryan Poles' mistakes and we want to hold him accountable, we should be looking at him too.
oh no,
Sure.
I
You've
agree.
been in the room.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
You was on the daggone show, sitting up there talking about this and that, about getting upset when we had to cut good players, and keeping the ones we ended up with. You in the rooms having to make decisions on
Mhm.
the band-aid that you put on the offensive line and gave us the shit that we had to smell for 17 games. And I'm supposed to be upset because you get hired and give me 2 third-round picks? Never. See ya.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So, guys, safety room. This is our roster right now. And the top 4 are free agents: Colbert, Moore, Jones, and Coleman. Todd, would you resign any of the top 4? Colbert, Moore, Jones, or Coleman?
Well, Elijah Hicks is a safety. It should be
I
on
know
the list.
Spot Track has him listed as a cornerback, so I
no,
let him
he's-
stay in the cornerback room. He'll come up next week.
Yeah, no, he's a safety. So
Yeah.
I like Colbert. I'd invite him to camp. I'd try to retain him somehow or another on the practice squad, although he's got a few years on him. Jalen Jones is another spot for that. Jonathan Owens is cheap, so I'm happy with that. And I would re-sign Byard. I mean, I would retain Byard. I wouldn't let him go. I don't think you can, just because of the question mark with Brisker. I don't think you're going to find a better player cheaper than that, or I think that his experience helps. So I would Davies. I mean, they're all invites, but I think that the only ones that are going to come into play would be Colbert and Jones and keep the top 3. I don't know who Alex Cook is.
He must have been on the practice squad all year. Chicago Clarence, what would you do with our safety room?
Uh,
The big question is Byard for
Right,
$8.5 million.
Brisker.
And Brisker not
question
being,
mark.
we don't know what, because I hate to say it, he's one concussion away from the IR
Right.
again. And that's I hate to be like, because we all like Brisker. We all agree he's aggressive. He gives you everything he's got. We love that kid. But the reality is he's one concussion away from being on the IR.
Brisker plays free safety, right?
Brisker
Or
is
is
the
he strong safety?
The box. He plays in the box a lot.
Split safety,
Strong,
but
yeah.
considered a box as the tackles.
Yeah.
So
I mean, see, my problem
about-
is if we let
I
Byard
don't-
go, then we need quality. Then we're going to need another safety, possibly 2.
well, this is my thing.
Yeah.
You bring Byard back, and you can get that cap number down. Restructure his deal, whatever, and then you
Good.
can cut him later.
You could offer to extend him a year and to do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that as well. But this is my
Extend
thing
him.
with Brisker. I think that the Bears decided to just put Brisker on the shelf because they saw our season going nowhere. There was
Yeah.
really no need to put him back out there and risk
Right.
getting him hurt again. Now, it seems to me that Brisker is planning on coming back and just playing because he's been out there,
Yes.
waving the pom-poms to bring in Michael Parsons.
Mhm.
He was one of the first people to jump up and start trying to get that done, and making a whole lot of noise for the Bears to go ahead and trade to get Michael Parsons. So I think Brisker is planning on being in the mix. I've always said that we could go ahead and draft another safety and switch sides with Brisker and not play him in the box. Draft another hard hitting safety who can put down there in the box and let Brisker cover. Brisker has really good cover skills.
Yeah.
So stop using him to be that other guy
Yeah.
and just had him switch sides of the field.
I mean, me personally, I would invite Colbert back and Jalen Jones as free agents. I would try to resign them to minimal deals. And I also would keep Byard. Like Todd said, you're not going to find a better player cheaper.
And also with the
Yeah.
news today with the extra money in the cap, I mean
Yes.
that kind of negates. I mean,
Yeah.
if I've got to choose between Everett or Byard, it's a no-brainer for me.
Yes.
Bringing back Byard. I mean, I think
And-
as far as all the possible re-signs, I think he's the top guy. I mean, I just even over any of the defensive linemen that are kind of bubble players that we can cut, I would still keep Byard.
Yeah.
And get younger on the line, but yeah,
Those are free agent safeties. Justin Reed's going to demand a lot. I actually like Jeremy Chin. If I had to resign or had to sign a free agent at all, I would go after Chin, honestly.
See, I wanted to sign Chin last year. You could have
He's
got
an
him
aggressive
cheap
type
because
player.
he was coming
Yeah.
off a terrible time with the Panthers, and then he
Yeah.
goes and has a great year with the Commanders, and now he's going to bring that same money, that $7-8 million figure. So I mean, he's got Illinois ties. He was a Saluki, but
And that's Todd. That's our point. If you sign Chin for $8 million, why
right.
don't you just keep Byard, who's been in the system
Right.
now for a year?
I mean, Chin's younger, obviously, but he
Yes.
had one good year. I'd still want to see more consistency out of him. I mean, there's a couple guys that'd be cheaper, but I think with the tight end, I think somewhere between that 72 and assuming we get the Cunningham pick, which would be in the low
Yes.
hundreds, and that 148, I would look to take a safety and a tight end with two of those three picks. I don't see him in the first two rounds. There's a couple tight ends I would take maybe in the third, but I think there's safeties available in the fourth. I mean, Clarence likes that Sanders boy, don't you?
I do like Shiloh.
Yeah, and he's projecting, from what I've seen, 5th, 6th. So
Yeah, he didn't even get invited to the combine, which I like.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
I've seen him as a priority free agent on a bunch of lists. So
Yeah, he can get coached up, and I think he fit real nicely coming off the bench because he has cover skills, and he's that hard hitting safety that we like to have. He can be put in the box instead of putting Brisker down there. I like Shiloh a lot.
I mean, it's just from a bloodline standpoint, I'd do a 6th round pick on him.
So, Chicago Clarence, do any of these safeties, you had to sign any of them? Do any of them float your boat?
If I had to,
Yeah.
it would be Diggs, but the price would have to be right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't really see the need to throw any money at the safeties in free agency. I like what we got, and we got capital to draft a safety. We don't need to sign a free agent safety.
Yeah, I want minimum contracts on these rookie safeties. That's
Yeah, I mean, and that's the reason. That's the way we need to look at it. And let's keep another thing in mind. Dennis Allen likes to be very exotic with his coverages and what he likes to do with his secondary on defense. And we also said that our secondary is the strong point of our defense.
Right.
So if we got a coach in there that's going to be creative with his coverage schemes, I like that a lot. We don't need to throw a whole lot of money at a free agent safety.
Pinch, we can throw one of the corners back. I mean, you can throw one of the corners in at safety for a game or two if you have to. I mean, I would rather spend, if we can sign Chase Young or if we can sign somebody else at the other end, and I want to spend money on the offensive line. If we end up with 70 million, 80 million when we cut whomever, if we spent 60 of it in the trenches, I would be thrilled.
I would too.
Yeah.
As long as it was on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
We got to have an edge rusher.
Yeah,
I mean, we cannot do what we did this past year again this year. We have got to get Montez Sweat some help. And I don't care what nobody say about Javon Dexter. I don't want to hear it. We need a 3 technique on that defensive line.
Yes.
We need a guy that is built for it, who has the mindset for it. Dexter can be the first man off the bench. I don't care. We need a starter in that position.
We need somebody that can stop I'm so sick of getting run on. That's the most aggravating
We
thing.
need Billings back badly.
Yeah, but we need depth behind him too.
Yeah,
that can also stop
I mean,
the
if
run,
we could
'cause
get like a good 3-man rotation at a defensive tackle position,
yeah,
like that would. I mean, that's what most teams run, a good solid 3 rotation piece at that defensive tackle position. I mean, we're we're one defensive tackle away from being a lot better. Like Billings, Dexter, and then like Clarence was saying, a dominating 3 technique, that would be a nice 3-man rotation.
Yeah, because you got to have somebody that's going to eat up blocks and keep them offensive linemen off your linebackers. Your linebackers can't cook if the defensive line is getting pushed around.
Yeah.
I mean, if Allen likes Chase Young, I'd be willing to do a couple 3-year deal because
my only problem with him is you can run on him. Teams run at him. That's my only problem with him.
Well, then that's not good. I mean, they're going to want somebody with size on there as a 4-3. We're not changing schemes here with Allen.
No, we're not.
We got somebody's got to be able to set the edge or he can't play. So, anyway.
So, guys, Todd, let's head into our final thoughts. So what do you think about the Chicago Bears, state of our Chicago Bears, or anything for that matter?
Well, with this with Virginia's death, we're in a little bit of flux, but they seem to be handling it pretty good. The ticket price thing that came out of nowhere, so that's a little. But I think that I think that we haven't had any coaching and the ability to develop any players. We've had terrible coaching on the offensive line. We just keep throwing guys. Last year, the defensive coordinators, did we go through 3? I don't even remember at this point. I mean, so stability there, an actual plan, and things should, we have quite a bit of talent, and they just need to learn to play together and have some sort of plan. And I think the Ben Johnson thing was the key. I mean, he doesn't have any experience, so that may fall apart on us. But they seem to be, and we say this all the time, but they seem to be getting their act together. So but that's hard to say.
We say that every year.
I know.
It finally feels different. Finally feels right. So again, my final thoughts. Thank you for joining us, watching us. Again, you can follow us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. My final thoughts are, I'm ready for free agency. March 12th, I'm ready. I'm ready to see what we're going to do. I'm ready to see what we're going to spend. I'm ready to see if we're going to fix the trenches in free agency, because the last 2 years under Ryan Poles, he signed positions that, holy shit, we signed linebackers right out the gate. Why did we do that? Holy shit, we signed Swift and Bayard right out the gate last year. I mean, they were kind of shocking moves. I mean, we needed the players, but we've been thinking for the last 2-3 years, oh, he's going to go after trenches first. He's going to go after trenches first. He's never done it. So I'm interested to see what happens on March 12th when we finally hit free agency, what he's going to do. If he's finally going to invest in these trenches. And on next week's show, we'll continue with our free agency breakdown. We'll look at the cornerback room and the wide receiver room. So, Chicago Clarence, take us home. What are your final thoughts?
I know we already touched on it early in the show, but even though we've already talked about it, I'm still pissed off about them going up on the ticket prices. You do fans a disservice when you just treat them like they don't matter. And it's because you feel like they're going to buy or they're going to come anyway. And you subject them to the garbage that you've given us for a decade. I know. I don't give a damn about having no quarterback, having some hot shot signal caller that's supposed to be the second coming of Bill Walsh. I don't care, because we haven't seen results yet. And this could be another disaster. We hope it's not, but it damn well very well could be. And the one thing that will not change is that you went up on prices again. At some point, you have got to start caring about the fans. And I'm talking about caring about the fans as a whole, because it is not cheap to even get out of your home, drive to the stadium, and we all know there's no place to park there. So they got to trek there. They got to buy the ticket. Then they got to go in there and buy your high-ass food and
Yeah.
watch your crappy ass team play. You're doing them a disservice when you sit there and you go up for the last 2 years. You have gone up on ticket prices, and in the last 2 years, you have given them what you've given them. You know, 5-12 and 7-10. So out of a possible 33 games, you have won 12 of them. That's disgusting. And you have the audacity to ask for more money. So I can't say that enough. I'm in the customer service business anyway.
Yes.
You know, so I think about customers on a daily basis. But all of us are customers. We are consumers. We wasn't given the stuff that we got. We paid for this. But how dare you go 10% up on what you have already charged them when you went up 8% last year, and you gave them 5-12, and then you turn around and go up on it again, a 10%? And we got so many questions about this football team. We were like, we play in the oldest stadium in the NFL, and we do not even own the building. We are a laughing stock. But you continue to sit there and tell us that, oh, well, it's inflation, or it's the going rate, or you got to pay for signing this coach and his new staff, which we told you was going to happen because you had to pay Eberflus and everybody else to go away. Now you're paying for a new coaching staff, and you go up on ticket prices. Listen, guys, I'm just tired of it. I'm sick of it. We deserve better. We say this all the time, and I mean it. We deserve better as a fan base. Now, I ain't not the ones who's sitting up there and going to the games. You know, this doesn't even affect me. I go to a bar and watch the game.
Yes.
But damn, the people who sit there and support the team, the people who's on the waiting list, they deserve better than this.
Right.
I mean, Andy, how many games you go through a year? Maybe 3?
Yeah.
You know,
Try
come
to.
on. It's not cheap for you to fly over there and
No.
watch this team and support this team. You
No.
deserve better than that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. The fans in itself should be raising more hell about this. We should be on damn First Take talking
Yeah.
about this. I volunteer. I'll do it.
You know, one thing about living in Charlotte here, and then when I go to Chicago has the luxury, and a lot like Philadelphia, because I'm from Allentown, as I've said many times, they have the luxury of diehard fans. Like Philadelphia, Chicago, they got some of the most. When I go to a Blackhawks game, Cubs game, even Bears, the stadium is full. No matter how shitty the team is or isn't, the stadium is full. I mean, and they know it. They know Chicago has die-hard fans. Here in Charlotte, stadium's empty when they start losing. I mean, we watch the Panthers on TV, you can see the blue seats. So the ownership in Chicago, as stupid as we think they are, they know Chicago has die-hard fans. They know this. They know it. They're not dumb. They know die-hard fans, they will come. They know they can raise them. They know they can. I mean, they might lose a couple fans or a couple people might stop going, but a city of what, 6 million, 7 million? Filling at 65,000, whatever it holds, isn't that hard. And they know that. Right, guys?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about, I was just trying to do quick math
Yeah.
and thinking about what I spend to go to the bar and watch the games with you guys on a weekly basis, because we do,
Yeah.
you know, and I just think that if I just sit here and just throw out a number, we could say legitimately maybe $300 to $400 a year, a football season in bar tabs. Okay. I'm pissed at that,
Yeah.
you know, but imagine having to sit there and pay for tickets, paying for travel, paying for hotel,
Yeah.
to go watch the nonsense that they put on the field. You ain't giving us anything, nothing but headaches. And then you're gonna go back up on the prices. You went up 8% the year before, now you're gonna go up another 10%, and you want me to continue to support bullshit? That's what I'm talking about. You know, and no matter how you slice it, it is still a consumer. We are consumers. We're paying for a product that ain't giving us nothing back but high blood pressure, So my doctor likes to tell me, and at some point we had got to start holding them accountable, whatever. And like I said, I don't live in Chicago, but you got to start holding them accountable. Stop going to the games. Stop putting money in their pocket. Watch it from home. Because you can't continue to sit there and give us 5-12, 7-10, 3-14, and keep selling us dreams that turn into nightmares. Because that's what they do every damn year. At some point, they got to feel it. And the only way they're going to feel it is in their pocket. That's the only way.
Well, 10% of pay Ben Johnston's $13.5 million salary. That's probably why they did it. In all honesty. And they're still going to... Yeah, go ahead, Todd.
They were going to raise it one way or the other. So,
yeah.
I mean, they may not have done that much, but I mean, they don't believe that the fans aren't going to show up, or they wouldn't.
No, not with a city of 6 million, 7 million, whatever Chicago is, 6 million, 7 million. No, and we're talking about a 100-year-old franchise. This franchise has had 100 plus years to build up its fan base. It's not like it's a new franchise, the Allentown Ambassadors or something. They have 0 people in their fan base right now. I mean, they have millions and millions across the globe. They've been in business over 100 years.
Yeah.
So they can.
Just think about it though. We done been in business all this long. We got 1 Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
1.
Mm-hmm.
1 Super Bowl win. That's what the Chicago Bears has given us. And I don't care what they say. It's because of them and their ownership.
Yeah.
Because the moment Papa Bear died, and his grandsons and his daughters took over the team, we ain't been nothing but crap.
We are a losing franchise. I looked it up.
And the laughing stock. Do you know that out of all the teams in the NFL, the Chicago Bears has the most Hall of Famers in the NFL?
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me the place that honors the greatest players of your game, the one franchise that has the most amount of Hall of Famers in that building is from the Chicago Bears, and we can't deliver more than 1 championship? The Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been in 5 Super Bowls already in his short career. 5. The last time we went to the Super Bowl was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
15. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. And out of the 15 years since we've been to the Super Bowl, how many times have the Chicago Bears went up on ticket prices?
Probably every year.
It's a mockery.
I bet every year. If I look it
it's
up,
a mockery.
I bet it's more often than not.
I would be surprised.
It's a mockery.
More than a handful of years they didn't. They probably every year a certain percentage.
And I mean, that's all I'm saying. Now, if the Kansas City Chiefs was going up on ticket prices, hell, I ain't even going to argue with them. If the Philadelphia Eagles did, okay, I ain't going to argue with you. But you're talking about a team that has gone 4 straight years with double-digit losses. Mm-hmm. And the 1 year that we didn't, we were 8-8.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Somebody has got to call them out. Somebody has got to call them to the carpet. Because we can't continue to let them do this and then go out there on the field and give us the nonsense that they've been giving us. And then in the offseason, make a whole bunch of promises that you can't keep, or you don't even know how to keep. And oh, by the way, we're going to go up on ticket prices again. Because that bill is going to come due, fellas. That tax bill is going to come due. That stadium bill is going to come due. Where are they going to get the money from?
Us. You're looking at it. Right, Todd?
That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't mean to keep going on and on, but this burns my ass. This burns my ass.
Yep.
Todd, anything else you want to say before I sign us out?
No, Combine starts next week, but I think we've got a show before that. But that's
next week will be cornerback and receivers, and our last show right before free agency start will be the trenches, because we know that's the hottest topic.
What's the free agency? Oh, okay, I got you.
March 12th. Right. Yeah. March 12th it starts.
Yeah.
So, guys, with that, thank you for watching. Until next time, everybody, bear down.
Bear down.